Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole and it's by user Toronto Music LLC. Am I the a-hole for refusing to let my sister-in-law live with us because I don't trust her even though she's homeless? So, my wife, 29 female, and I, 41 male, have been together for 5 years, married for 2. Everything has been great between us, except for one issue, her sister, Megan, 26 female. Megan has always been a bit of a mess, job hopping, partying, dating sketchy guys, and making terrible life decisions. Despite all of this, my wife always goes out of her way to help her, which I guess is understandable since they're close. So, a couple of months ago, Megan got evicted from her apartment because she stopped paying rent. She claims it's because her ex-boyfriend stole money from her. She has nowhere to go and no savings. My wife came to me and said we should let Megan stay with us for a little while until she gets back on her feet. I immediately said no. Here's why. 1. Megan has stolen from us before. It was small stuff, random things like cash from my wallet or expensive liquor from our cabinet. But it's the principle. When we confronted her, she downplayed it and said she was just borrowing. 2. I don't trust her around our home. She's messy, careless, and honestly a bit of a liar. She's crashed her car multiple times, has had multiple landlords say she's trashed their apartments, and I don't need that kind of stress in our house. We've worked hard to have a nice, peaceful home. And 3. I know for a fact that if she moves in, she'll never leave. Megan is always looking for an easy way out, and I'm not willing to have a freeloader under my roof, especially one who has proven she can't be trusted. We'd be stuck with her forever. When I explained all of this to my wife, she got really upset. She said Megan had nowhere else to go and that she couldn't let her own sister be homeless. I told her Megan had other options. She could move in with their parents or, find a stable job. But my wife insists that she needs to stay with us because it's closer to her work, and Megan doesn't get along with her parents. I told my wife that Megan could maybe stay for a weekend or something short, but absolutely no long-term arrangement. My wife then accused me of being heartless and not caring about her family, which isn't true. I just don't want to deal with Megan's irresponsibility. We got into a huge fight about it, and now my wife is giving me the silent treatment. Meanwhile, Megan has been couch surfing and still hasn't found a permanent place, so the pressure is building. I'm holding my ground, but now both my wife and her family are calling me an a-hole for letting Megan suffer when we have a spare room that could easily accommodate her. Am I the a-hole for refusing to let my sister-in-law move in even though she's homeless? Well, OP, in my opinion, no, you are most definitely not the a-hole. She stole from you. That was enough for me. Confidence gone. Trust is gone. I was just borrowing? No. When you take something from somebody without them knowing, that is called stealing. Definitely not borrowing. Now, I couldn't care less if she doesn't get along with her parents. If that's her only choice, then that's it. And everybody else in your wife's family who's saying, oh, you should just house her. Why don't they shut up or put up and give her a room so she can stay with them? I think you're absolutely right, OP. If you let her in your house, she'll wreck it, she'll never leave, and things are gonna start to go missing. And what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's check out the community comments. Prof Plum Did It says, not the a-hole. Her family is calling you an a-hole to pressure you because they don't want her living with them. You really need to hold your ground on this because if you let her in, you'll never get rid of her. She will always have some excuse to stay longer that your wife will fall for, especially since, depending on where you live, she could have tenants' rights very quickly. Tell your wife that it's a no, and that the more people come at you for it, the more sure you are that letting her in would be a disaster. Clean Fisherman 4601 says, not the a-hole, and I suspect nobody stole her money. It sounds a lot like a drug addict story. I didn't have the money because someone stole it. I paid my bills and nothing was left. I lost my wallet. They have a million stories why they're broke. Perhaps she needs to go to inpatient rehab. 2 problems solved in 1 soup. She has a place to stay and gets clean. And Babbitt5410 says, your sister-in-law is a user and will never change. Do not let her in even for a weekend. She had no plans to ever leave. She has stolen from you in the past. What makes you think she won't do it again? You never pressed charges, so there are no consequences. She made herself homeless, not you or your wife. Wife needs to realize that you, hubby, are her family now, and she needs to let her sister figure this out on her own. Why aren't any other family members volunteering to take her in? Bet you dollars to donuts she has stolen from them too. Additional information from OP's comments. From what I understand, her parents have issues with her for the same reason I don't get along with her. I won't speak on her upbringing because that's a bit personal for her and I'm not her. I do believe that everyone deserves a good life and a roof over their head. I've offered compromises and other places she can go. She is not banned from other people's houses, but she is not welcome in mine due to the past. Alright, well, the majority of the community agrees that OP is not the a-hole and that he should stand his ground. So now, let's move on to the quick and short update that OP has given us. After reading through most of the comments and having a good chat with my old lady, she has finally agreed with me and we will not be letting Megan in our house. My wife read through a lot of these comments after our chat. I think with a couple of people's comments, she can really understand where I'm coming from and view this outside of it just being her sister. So thanks Reddit, thumbs up. And I would also like to clear the air and let everyone know who has read the comments, I do not, have not, and will not ever lay hands on my wife unless it's late at night on a weekend and my kids are gone for the night. Thanks again everyone, much love. Well OP, I'm gonna call this a happy update. Your wife understood your point of view, agrees with you, and your sister-in-law will not be staying in your home. So here's wishing the best for the both of you. And now, let's move on to the next post that also has an update. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole and it's by user Lalabellum. Am I the a-hole for telling the guy I just met to shove his suggestions where the sun don't shine? So I, 27 female, just spent my Sunday morning meeting this guy my aunt set up as my blind date. For some reason, the fact that I'm single, never really been in any kind of relationship whatsoever, bothers my aunt a lot, even though my parents couldn't care less. They told me to just take my time. I myself don't really care about starting a relationship anytime soon. I'm not opposed to it, I just don't think it's really that big of a deal. But my aunt kept insisting I gave this guy a chance. Apparently, he was someone whose parents were trusted friends of my aunt and uncle. So I eventually just said, sure. I thought it wouldn't hurt to go meet this guy for a cup of coffee, especially when I knew that if I said no, my aunt would continue to talk my ears off until I said yes. The Sunday morning came and I arrived at the location of my date. The moment I sat down, my date immediately greeted me with these charming lines of, I don't like women who wear red lipstick, it makes you look so shrewish. And wow, didn't that just flatter me? I jokingly asked if red lipstick looked bad on me, which he said I looked very pretty in it, but he wanted his girl to not rely on cosmetics to make herself look better. His girl? Jumping to conclusions, are we? He then went on and commented on my eyeliner, saying that the way I drew it made my eyes look too sharp for his liking, and asked if I used fake lashes. I said no, telling him only a little mascara. He advised me to also stop using that. He continued with my hair, telling me I should have kept my hair straight instead of curling it. I'm Asian, and we Asian women tend to have straight hair. Then he said that he was glad I didn't dye my hair, but I should have honored my natural beauty more by leaving my hair alone. He also commented on my perfume, about how it smelled too women for his taste. His words, not mine. And suggested that I either didn't use perfume at all or used something else that smelled milder. Apparently, he wanted his girl to have a sweet, innocent sense. And because he apparently didn't like anything about me, he told me I shouldn't have worn my red dress to this date. I was like, what the F? Is there a dress code I didn't know of? Do you even need a dress code in a cafe? And he was like, but I don't like my girl wearing that color in public. You'll look too headstrong in that color. Oh, the dress is too short by the way. It wasn't, it was knee length. By this point, he really annoyed me, so I took my money out and told him that was my share for this date, but I didn't think we were suitable for each other, so this date should stop now. I wished him good luck in his quest to find his girl. He seemed surprised by my action and asked how I knew we were not a suitable match when we didn't even start getting to know each other. Then, he asked if I was bothered by his words, calling me sensitive for being offended by his suggestion. He said I needed to learn to take criticism, and that if I couldn't handle suggestion from people who only wanted what was best for me, I wouldn't be able to go far in life. I told him to shove his helpful suggestion up his ass and leave it there to fester. Then I left the cafe. Am I the a-hole for saying that to him? No, OP, of course you're not the a-hole, and I think there's a reason why that idiot is still single. Instead of saying something like, "Hi, how are you? Nice to meet you. Your aunt has spoken great about you. What kind of music do you like?" or something along those lines, no, let's go straight to critique your look. You know, your lipstick, your hair, your eyelashes, whatever. Now, that guy's an idiot. And actually, OP, your story took me back to a time before I met my lovely wife and I went out on a date with this lady. I say lady to keep it family friendly. The night was an absolute torture and everything I heard coming out of her mouth was some kind of complaint about whatever, like the food, the drinks, the service, my conversation skills, and a lot more stuff. Now, I didn't leave her sitting in the restaurant because I thought that would be rude, but when I dropped her off, she did make a suggestion that for our next date, I shouldn't wear a t-shirt and I should wear a dress shirt. As you would guess, there was no second date. So no, OP, definitely not the a-hole. And what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments. I want to see your cat, please, says, "Gosh, I can't imagine why this guy needs his parents to set up dates for him. Your response was very restrained. He can keep his dumb opinions about lipstick and dresses to himself." Quote, "He seemed surprised by my action and asked how I knew we were not a suitable match when we didn't even start getting to know each other." End quote. Honestly, that's an impressive level of dumb a-hole nonsense. You don't know each other at all, so it's not okay for you to decide it's not working out, but it's totally fine for him to tell you what to wear and how to act and to say that you're his girl. You dodged a bullet there. Yutsuna Koneko says, "Definitely not the a-hole. Is it mean to assume he might have not been the best looker himself? Not being salty, but in my experience at least, most men who had something to say about my appearance were no Prince Charmings themselves. Also, you definitely dodged a bullet there. People are kind of gross, male or female alike, if they have such strict rules for how their partner needs to look. In fact, it's pretty controlling to tell another person how they should look or dress like. Should have told that guy good luck finding a woman to manipulate and control as well." And OK Passage 6242 says, "Not the a-hole. I think you needed to say more. Was much of an a-hole or clueless, or do you think he didn't want to be there either and this was just his way of getting out of it? I mean, is he that grossly unaware of how effing condescending that is?" And OP responds, "I don't know. I really don't. I mean, we just met, basically didn't know anything about each other, and the whole time I sat there before I got up, I was annoyed with what he said to me. I admit I might have let my emotion get a better of me in that moment, so I didn't really think about why he did what he did, which is why I wondered if I was being rude for saying that to him." Well, the community agrees that OP is not the a-hole, so now let's move on to the update to see how the story ends. First, just to make it clear, he didn't start criticizing me while I was standing. I had already sat down when he said that, and I just thought he was just nervous, so he blurted out the first thing he thought of. I was willing to let that slide, and also because I thought it would be very rude to just leave after just one comment, which was why I joked with him about whether the lipstick made me look bad. I honestly didn't know it could be that bad after that. Now, many of you in the comment section seemed eager to know my aunt's reaction when she found out the date didn't work. I have to say, her reaction was not something as dramatic as you might seem to believe. Probably because I just told her the guy and I didn't click. She did ask how it went. I didn't tell her anything in detail about the date, and I just said we talked for a bit, but we had nothing in common, so I didn't think it was going to work. My aunt was quite disappointed, but she didn't request that I give the guy another chance. And no, I don't think she knew he would react like this. Like I already said, he's the son of her friends, so she probably just heard about him from his parents and saw his photos and thought, hey, I should introduce him to my niece. Well, OP, it's a drama-free update, so it's a positive update. Thanks so much for sharing and take care. And now let's move on to the next post that has 2 updates. This post is from the subreddit Marriage and it's by user XDeserted. Wife pregnant after vasectomy. I had my vasectomy in November of 2023. My primary care doctor recommended his personal urologist to do the procedure. Tested my sperm 3 months after the procedure and was told by the clinic that I was 100% sterile. I was asked if I needed to return for a second test to be sure and was told no, that I'm good. Fast forward to this morning and my wife wakes me up at 6 a.m. holding a positive pregnancy test. Neither of us are upset per se, but we were both over the fact that we wouldn't be having more kids. We currently have a boy, 10, and a girl, 7. We're both 37 years old and just kind of anxious and not sure what to think now. I'm going to get my sperm tested again and already messaged my urologist. My wife is making an appointment to have a blood test done to confirm. Any thoughts or just comments would be appreciated. We are both just sort of shocked considering how unlikely this is to happen. Well, OP, I think there's 2 scenarios. 1, she is pregnant, which gives you 2 other choices. The vasectomy didn't properly take or it got naturally reversed, or she cheated, which would of course absolutely suck. The other option is that she has a false positive. Now, the only thing that would make me think, well, this could either be a false positive or your vasectomy just reversed, is the fact that she woke you up to tell you. I mean, maybe I am being naive, but I wouldn't think that the first reaction of somebody who cheated and got pregnant would be to tell her husband about it. So before jumping to any other conclusions, I'd say wait until you see your urologist and your wife gets her blood work back. And what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's check out the community comments. Piper Dawn says she seems on board with trying to figure out what went wrong. I wouldn't jump to conclusions just yet. Wait for the tests to come back. And OP responds, yeah, highly doubt it's not mine, but crazier things have happened, lol. I'm going to get my semen tested to ensure it's sterile. Then, if it is, ask for a DNA test. Deadcourt36 says, wouldn't she attempt to hide the pregnancy from you and undergo a termination if she was cheating? Vasectomies don't always take. I mean, you really only have one choice here. Get tested again. If you're sterile, find a lawyer and request a paternity test. And OP responds, that's the plan of action, and agreed, it wouldn't be something she's open about. She even mentioned a few days ago being worried about her period being late, so I highly doubt that's the case. Cockroach Daydreams says, our 4th is a vasectomy fail. My entire pregnancy everyone had to make comments. I got a lot of funny looks when I'd have to explain my husband's vasectomy failed. He was 5 years post-vasectomy when I got pregnant, cleared at 3 months and told he was sterile. My husband offered to have it repeated. I didn't trust it. I told my doctor I wasn't leaving the hospital after our son was born until they cut out and burned my tubes. That was 6 years ago. Lol, it happens. And OP responds, lol, congrats on the 4th baby. This will be number 3 for us. We thought a while about having a 3rd, but decided not to, and I had the procedure done. All I can do is laugh and just go through this with our family and hope for the best. I told my wife she needs to have her tubes tied or whatever procedure they do these days, and that I'd have my vasectomy fixed. I don't know if she's willing to, but I definitely don't want 4 kids, lol. Alright, so the community was kind of in agreement that OP shouldn't jump to conclusions, but in the case that he is in fact still sterile from the vasectomy, that he should get a DNA test, and apparently that's the plan. So now, let's move on to the first of 2 updates to see what happened next. I received my semen analysis today, and boy do I have news. Sperm was present in the sample, 1.5 million per milliliter, 4.4 million total motile per 4.4 milliliters of total sample. I can't believe this happened to us, lol. I'm in shock, as is my doctor. He said he hasn't seen a case like this in the 30 years he's been a urologist and is offering to do the surgery again for free. He thinks it's possible one of the tubes reconnected, so I guess I'm a dad again. Thanks to everyone who has been supportive with their comments and suggestions. My wife has her ultrasound in a few weeks and I would be lying if I said I wasn't excited. Big smiley face. Well, OP, I guess congratulations are in order. And now, let's move on to the last update. Today we had our very first baby ultrasound and we are beyond excited. We were a little anxious but thrilled to find out it's just one baby. Big smiley face. The technician reassured us that everything looks healthy and the baby's heart rate is perfect. We couldn't be happier and can't wait for what's to come. Thanks to everyone on here for being supportive in my previous posts. I really appreciate the kind words of encouragement. Well, OP, it's nice to know that everything is going well. So here's wishing you and your wife and your family the best in the future. Thanks so much for sharing and take care. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out. So here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.